2019, over 5,000 medical practitioners between the ages of 25 and 35 wrote the British Medical Board examinations. This means that if all of them pass, Nigeria will be losing 5,000 doctors to Britain. It's Catholic Faith Forum, and today on the show we'll be discussing Niger exit, the mass exodus of Nigerian youths from the country. When we come back from this short break, we'll be meeting our guests and going straight into the discussion. Stay with us, don't go anywhere. Welcome back to Catholic Faith Forum, and today we're talking about Niger exit, the mass exodus of youths from the country. I have two guests with me in the studio to discuss about the topic. First, I have Nwokoye Frank, 300 level student of the University of Lagos in the Department of Architecture. You're welcome, Chief.
Thank you very much.
All right, bro. And I have with me also Ehosa Eboibe, 400 level sociology student from the University of Lagos, the Department of Sociology. You're welcome, bro.
Thanks.
How you guys doing? So
well.
we're ready to talk about this, yeah?
Yeah.
All right, cool. So, have you ever left the shores of Nigeria, Ehosa?
Well, yeah, been opportune to leave here to England once or twice.
Once or twice. You say it like it's nothing, like it's something you do every other Saturday. Small, nice one. How about you, Frank?
If you're going to Cotonou for excursion counts, then
Cotonou is abroad now. Anywhere that is not the country is abroad.
Abroad.
so I guess I've traveled abroad.
All right, cool. So, are there any myths that you are familiar with that is associated with leaving the country?
Yeah, I have a few cousins who did their masters abroad in England.
Okay, I'm talking about the myths now. Like, what have you heard? The absurd things that people say when leaving the country.
Oh, that should I put it in this way? Greener pastures. I'm going for greener pastures. That's like the summary of most
of what people say. What about you? What type of things have you heard?
Well, it's usually things like system is not working, or this place is better than Nigeria, and anything is better than Nigeria. Let's just leave this place. That's basically the rundown of why people leave Nigeria for other places.
But will you consider these things as myths now?
Well, in a way, it depends on who exactly you're talking to. Who exactly understands what you mean by myths of leaving the country. Because my own needs and my own reasons for leaving this country will be different from another person's reasons. Some may leave because of, let's say, a northerner now leaving the country. He can say because of terrorism, because of fear. I may be leaving because of vacation. Another person may be leaving because they want, their business is not growing here. They don't have much opportunities here. So they want to look for, as he said, greener pastures for their businesses. So it depends, it's relative. It depends on who you're talking to.
So do you agree with what he said?
Yeah, obviously, like, it's your own point of view. Whatever works for you, whatever you think you are more comfortable with, where you can make ends meet and like have a good standard of living, whether here or abroad.
So basically now you are saying that people's survival, actually, people's survival is not just a myth, it's a fact when people consider leaving the country.
Yes.
Okay, so but also he mentioned something about it being relative to people, like he said. Some people survive here in the country. So why do you think that other people believe that their survival lies outside the country?
Yeah, everything is more or less about mindset. Some stay here and be like, we die here. No matter how hard it is, we'll
die here.
We'll hit the brakes and we'll go through everything. But most people are like, it's easier if I put the same stress I'm putting here abroad, I'll earn double or triple. That I can maybe go abroad and school and work. But over here, if I work, I might get peanuts. It's maybe just transport money or the whole stuff are gone, and so they just prefer going out.
Wow. Okay. So you both are students here. So but Ehosa, you're wrapping up with school very soon. So you being a student and seeing your fellow Nigerians who are abroad and are supposedly doing better in education, do you think these are some of the things that could drive students away from schooling in Nigeria?
Yes.
Why?
Standard, yes. Because first of all, when you're leaving school, you weigh up your options. When you're leaving school, you're thinking, okay, yeah, after this, what next? Everyone's around you. Everyone around you is asking, your parents, your uncles, your aunts, your siblings are all asking, what next for you? First thing that comes to your mind is, I want to make it. I want to be successful. Now you look at your own country. You come home where you are from. You look at the opportunities you have. Do you think you have the opportunity to be successful with your degree in the kind of situation that you're in? Or do you feel that going abroad will increase your chances? Now, I think that also depends on the course that you study. For example, since our economy is based on two different sectors, the petrol and the agriculture, people who studied in these two lines, they'll be thinking that, okay, yeah, I have a chance in Nigeria because since our country pumps more money into these sectors, I'll have another chance. But for myself now, for example, I'm studying sociology. Sociology as a course and sociologists aren't really appreciated in Nigeria. The work we do is essential to Nigeria. We do research that helps the government plan for citizens. Now, the work we do is not appreciated, even though we all know that it's important, but it's not appreciated. But if I have the opportunity to go to a country like Amsterdam now, where the sociologists are one of the highest paid professionals in the world, if I have the chance to go there now, obviously, there are no two ways about it. There's no way I'm going to be thinking about staying here. All I'm thinking about is myself, because as a human being, the first and most important thing you're thinking about is your desires, yourself, meeting your needs. Now, and I'll ask myself, why exactly am I staying in Nigeria if I know that going to another country will benefit me more than staying here? Personally, I don't see any good reason. There is no reason for me to be staying in Nigeria when I'm not going to be successful and help those around me and those in the larger community. So for me, I'll say staying in Nigeria, if you have the opportunity to go outside, it doesn't really make sense.
Interesting.
This situation now, it doesn't make sense.
That's an interesting viewpoint. Okay, Frank, you remember at the beginning of the show, I mentioned the statistic of 5,000 doctors being potentially lost to Britain. Obviously, many of them will give reasons like the greener pastures and better opportunities that you both have listed out. You also are studying architecture, yes? Okay, and the United Arab Emirates is a good place to practice. So what do you think are some of the reasons, apart from these ones that we have all discussed right now, that professionals, young professionals, leave the country?
Okay, in Nigeria, educational, like our system of education, is not compared to what they have abroad. Because to study architecture in Nigeria, after you do your BSc, you do 2 years masters, then you go for NIE just to become a licensed architect. But in other countries, in Dubai, I learned that you just need your BSc and masters. And over there, with those 2 degrees, they have fascinating buildings, world-class buildings that are better than Nigerian buildings.
Don't you think it's a result of the lack of creativity amongst the Nigerian students? Does it really have to do with the education?
Nigerians are, as individuals and as a group, one of the most creative people in the world. Anywhere we are in the world, we stand out. But the system here is basically more of theoretical. We don't practicalize anything. So if you don't do it with hand, you really can't do it. So that is just...
So basically what you are saying now is the major reasons why professionals leave is so that they can maximize their fullest potential.
Yeah, so they can express themselves well.
Okay, but people are also shown some form of desperation. Like there's a story about a man who wrote IELTS examinations a whopping 32 times. The forms cost 75,000 naira. He wrote it 32 times. What do you think can drive this type of desperation? Isn't it just beyond the normal reasons we've discussed?
Well, for a person to write, and I learned that exam, it's taken every week. So this guy spent basically 3/4 of a year writing a particular exam, spending 75k every single week. just to be able to leave this country. Now, will you now tell me that someone who is trying his best to leave this country, looking at this kind of person now, you tell me that that person doesn't have any good reason? Because if I had that opportunity, well, the guy obviously has money to be able to do it that much. But if I had that kind of opportunity and I could just take it once, I could. Because there's nothing that is going to work in this country for young entrepreneurs. Yes, you may think that some people are making it. If Dangote is doing it, why can't you do it? If Otedola is doing it, why can't you do it? But how many of us are making it? How many? We are about 190 million in this country. How many young, successful entrepreneurs does Nigeria have? Look at the numbers. There are a few.
All right, I would like you to hold that thought because right now it's time to go to the streets and take views. Our show is nothing without the streets. So when we come back from this short break, we will be going back into the discussion with Frank and Ehosa. Stay with us, don't go anywhere.
It's another season of Catholic Faith Forum. I am Judith and I'm here to get the opinion of people for our topic. Join me.
Oh, as a matter of fact, I've been dreaming it.
Why would you want to leave Nigeria?
It's not that I want to leave Nigeria totally. I love Nigeria, but I've always loved Canada. And I've been dreaming of training up my children in Canada.
Of course I'll take it.
Why?
Of course, you know how the country is not really in the best shape, you know. Everybody's taking a flight, you know. Just if it happens, why not?
Will you come back?
Maybe yes, maybe no.
You know, ask me the country that I'll go to.
What country?
I've not decided yet, but of course I would actually. I think that I would. Exposure. I think I want a new place, a new environment. Maybe a place. Yeah, sure. Yeah, actually, we would like to come back. Maybe get new sun or maybe snow. You get enough exposure because this one is hot, but
the weather will encourage me to take it. Like now, everywhere is super hot, so even the weather alone will want me to take it. And then yes, of course, I'll take it with both hands, even my leg or my body. I'll take the opportunity to leave the country because, okay, it depends on the country I'm going to. Let's say Europe and US or some other part of North America. Yes, but not some other part of African country. I mean, we are still better off. Like Ghana is still okay. Yeah, Ghana is hot. Okay, I'm not talking only about the hotness now. Like South Sudan, no. Some other African countries where things are not so stable. Nigeria is not so bad, but then if I see opportunity to go to Europe or North America, some part of North America.
Definitely I will. I'm not for anything, just to be able to experience, other environments, other worldview, learn new things, experience new cultures, see how it's being done over there. You can be able to really have this comparative analysis to say what's working here, what's not working, how can I make where I'm coming from better, things to adopt, things to, dispense with and everything. Yes, I'd definitely come back to it. It's not on a permanent thing, maybe just school, leave, work, but still come back here to also impact here, or at least when you die, you'll probably be buried here. So you'd still come back.
Catholic Faith Forum, and we are discussing Niger exit, the mass exodus of Nigerian youths from the country. I have Frank and Ehosa with me, and we've been talking so much about this topic. Before we went on the break, Ehosa was answering the question as to why people could show so much desperation when leaving the country.
As I was saying, most of these things depend on, like you said, the myths that people have been told. Let me use an example now for internal migration. Now, in Nigeria, from what Nollywood shows you, Nollywood will show you an Igbo guy who left the east, went to Lagos, the city, then came back with 2 jeeps and built the house for his family. as per it's magic. You leave your land, you go to Lagos, come back, you have money. People have been fed that myth, that story, that when they go abroad, you will make it. No how, last. When you get there, just make sure you get there. When you get there, things will sort themselves out. It's not you're any Nigerian, you still make it there. So that now gives people this kind of motivation, this kind of desperation that I must get there.
Even to the point of writing IELTS 32 times. What do you have to say about that, Frank?
Oh, the first thing that came to my mind that guy has a lot of money to waste.
Yes, he does.
But it just shows the fact that he said he's desperate, meaning that he has the opinion or the notion that whatever he's doing here, over there, he's going to achieve greater because of maybe the opportunities or the condition of how he's going to go about it. So that's to support the notion that Nigerians basically want to travel abroad. If you tell somebody the sun is too hot, I'm sweating. If rain falls, they'll tell you that the ground is too muddy. In abroad, I prefer snow, and they have never been there. So how would you know which is better? So it's just like you said, the myth. Nollywood, go to Lagos, you make money, the houses are there, the cars are there. So everybody wants to be comfortable. That is the bottom line. And if they think going to abroad is going to be the easiest and the fastest way for them, that's what
could drive such a desperation. All right. So how do you draw a line between self-preservation and patriotism? Because even our Bible tells us that we should obey constituted authorities. Yes. So you should be patriotic. You owe it to your country to be patriotic. And how do you now draw the line between patriotism and self-preservation, Frank?
Okay. You have to be patriotic to your country, in the sense that there's something the country has to offer you. People say Americans are patriotic to their country because I hear unemployed citizens get allowances. So you have to, like, for a reasonable person, you fight for what is going for you. As a Nigerian, I've not seen or I've not got anything to date that classified me, okay, because you're a Nigerian, you should have this. I've not had that opportunity, I've not had that privilege. So I don't think why I should remain here if I'm not given any benefit of the doubt of being a Nigerian. Let me just go to somewhere that even appreciates me more than my homeland to make it.
So basically, your patriotism now should be, if you are going to do anything for your country should be able to respect for you. So that means in this case now, you are saying that people should put their self on the same perspective with being patriotic.
Yes, in a way. It should be reciprocal. Like, there is this theory we have in sociology, theory of the social contract. It's the concept deals with the fact that citizens have trusted government with their safety and their own preservation. In exchange for the government, the citizens give them obedience and whatever the government needs to ensure the country moves forward. So it's a contract. I give you something, you give me something. Now, when one party is not upholding their side of the bargain, the other party has the right, in fact the obligation, not to honor it. So if you're not giving me what you're supposed to give me, what I need, why exactly should I give you what I need? And if I have been, even though you have been failing, I have been giving you chances to still give me what I need, and yet you still fail. In fact, you're making it clear to me that, okay, yes, I'm not going to give you what I'm supposed to give you. What is the point in me still believing in you again?
Wonderful. All right, so let's talk a bit about the leadership and how it has affected the moving out of people from Nigeria. So what do you have to say about that, Frank?
The leadership in this country, in this continent as a whole, it's not something to write home about. It's not something you can boast up to your friends abroad, because they're your leaders. I don't think they're after your goodwill. It's mostly their pocket, because as you said, humans are after themselves first. So if I'm following someone who's not taking care of me or himself, I don't think I can be in that same boat with you. I can't be in a ship where the captain goes for himself before his crew. it doesn't go that way in any way. So as a citizen, my leaders are not what they're supposed to be. They're not what I want them to be.
So do you think now that the citizenry has any power, Ebusa, over the influence of other countries? Do you think the citizenry has any power to influence people to look inward than to look outward?
Well, the citizenry that should be influencing people is basically the same thing. We are trying to influence ourselves. So we have to convince ourselves that are we getting what we should be getting here or not? But yes, we actually influence ourselves in the sense that, well, there is something in psychology that no one else can change your mindset except you. If you well and truly believe and make yourself believe that Nigeria will be better again and you can make it better, there is nobody that can change your mind about that. And no matter what the government throws at you, even if they burn down your house, no matter what they do for you, you still continue to believe that you can change the country, unless you decide on your own that, okay, yes, this country is not going to work for me. But if you believe that there's nothing that can work in this country again, let's all leave, then there's no one that can change your mind except you.
But there are citizens who are actually doing what other citizens wish they would do. Isn't this some form of influence for others, Frank?
We are over millions in this country, and it's very few that are making it here. If you know 10 people who travel abroad, you can roughly say 7 are comfortable. So with that statistic, you feel if I go there, I'm not going to do too bad. I'm going to be better than what I have here. So if I look at this citizen in Nigeria and he's driving a car and he's doing this, okay, in Nigeria they'll say either he's doing Yahoo or he's into ritual. So with that notion, like you said, is your mindset that for you to make it here as a young Nigerian or as a youth, you have to be either diabolical or lucky. So you just have to like take your talent and your gift out there, because Nigerians don't appreciate talent.
I want to ask you this question. In your honest to God opinions, your feelings, do you think that this situation is going to get better in, say, the next 10 years?
No.
Why?
Well, as humans, we learn to follow trends. Now, for the past 2 decades, we have been following the trend, and nothing has changed. Things have only gotten worse, and it doesn't even look like it's going to get better. So there is no way I can say that things are going to get better when things are not looking like they're going to get better. So I just feel that if you have the chance, take it.
Yeah, like you said, no, because for the movement abroad to stop means that the country has to start getting better, and from the look of it, there's no indication that things will get better in the next 10 years.
Wow. Thank you so much for joining us on the show. It's been a pleasure having you guys. Thank you, Erosa. Thank you, Frank, for sharing your views. All right, so the conversation continues on social media. Make sure that you send us your inquiries. Make sure you send us your experiences. And if you have any messages of hope for Nigerians out there, send us a message on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at CFF on TV. But before we go, we have Judith and Collins with a bit of info on the Know Your Faith series. Enjoy.
Welcome to Know Your Faith series. She is Judith.
And he is Collins.
Today we'll be talking about the Lord's Prayer. The Lord's Prayer is a very powerful prayer. But first, what is prayer?
Prayer is the raising up of our heart and mind to God. A good prayer should contain adoration, contrition, thanksgiving, and supplication.
And we find all these in the Lord's Prayer. Adoration and thanksgiving we find in the very first phrase of the Lord's Prayer, which says, Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. And we go further to ask for contrition when we ask God to forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us.
And then supplication when we ask God for our daily bread, up to deliver us from all evil.
We find the initiation of the Lord's Prayer by Christ himself in the gospel in Luke chapter 11 from verses 2 to 4 and Matthew chapter 6 from verses 9 to 13, where the disciples asked our Lord Jesus to teach them how to pray, and he taught them the Lord's Prayer.
The Lord's Prayer should be a model of what a prayer should look like. As St. Augustine already said, whatever we say when we pray well is already included in the Lord's Prayer.
Therefore, when you pray, there is no need for too much talk. What is important is the devotion and the fervor of spirit with which we pray and communicate to God.
The prayer is a proof of the wisdom of God, who compressed into few words the aspirations of the human heart in its communication with God.
So there you have it, guys. The Lord's Prayer is a very important prayer, and I encourage you to always say the Lord's Prayer.
Thank you for joining us today. Till next time,
Be bold, be Catholic.
That was Judith and Collins on the Know Your Faith series. Before we go, if things get better, will you stay? Or do you think that people who are outside already will come back?
It depends on how much better things get. If they get better to the point where we can see ourselves being able to compare where we are in Nigeria to where they went to, then yes, I can say I can stay. And if things will look like they will keep on getting better and even surpass where I think I should be, then I think I have a reason to stay. But for now,
all right, Frank.
Yeah, there's a simple saying: there's no place like home. Wherever you are in the world, once you come back home, there's a feeling of comfort. So if things are better, like you said, if you can at least, even if it's not at the same level, but you can compare with them, why not?
All right. That's our show for today, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, Dominican Media Presents, to keep up with new episodes of the show. Until we come your way with another exciting episode of the show, keep being saints in jeans and shirts.